I'm actually quite excited for this game because of that reason, and we'll see how the op bans shape those out. First ban up, Thatcher. I mean, overall, just for maps in general, completely checks out. For Soniqs, completely checks out. For Border, completely checks out. Now let's see if DarkZero or if they decide to maybe change things up a little bit. Maybe get the Flores off the board. You know, you don't want to worry about those Rotero drones. Maybe take a Finka off, not worrying about that LMG or those grenades. A couple different options here, but no, instead it'll be the Maverick. Now normally in response we'll see a Cade ban taken off, but if that gets left up by DarkZero or the Soniqs, that could be a big risky play.
They were quick on this ban, so I would assume it is those Electroclaws taken off the board, but no, it's going to be the Mira instead, leaving the Cade ban up to the Soniqs, unless, like you said, they want to take that pretty sizable risk. Looks like they will by removing the Valkyrie and removing the intel she can bring to the table, but like you said, this is dangerous for both of these teams, especially for DarkZero. Starting out on the attacking side, they're going to have to work their way in the building without the EMPs of the Thatcher, not too unusual, but now without the breaching torch of the Maverick to avoid the electricity that those Electroclaws bring. They could be stalled out quite a bit.
Well, Border is a map that's similar to Bank in that for the defense, it can be and feel very restrictive when you're playing. It's very hard to play on site on, well, some of these bomb sites. So even though the Cade is still up, you don't have the Thatcher or the Maverick to take those Electroclaws down, it's still something that honestly might just bring the defensive side, at least again based on how this map is constructed, more towards the equilibrium, because playing on site can be very difficult, and having those Electroclaws might be able to go a long way. Another operator we see a lot on Border, Castle coming through, Yeti bringing him out. I know they talked on the desk, and it's certainly true how easy it is to acquire map control. You just go up east stairs, put down an Osa shield, and you've got basically a key lane on the map covered. Not only do we see the Osa, we actually see quite a lot of changes coming in the attacking lineup. Ying and a Glass Jonah coming out.
Yeah, we're seeing a big change from DarkZero and what looks to be an aggressive attacker lineup to say the least here. And I am loving this from DarkZero, and honestly, this first round is going to be very important to see how DarkZero are going to approach this map as a whole. Are they going to play the DarkZero old-fashioned methodical style of Siege, or are they going to get aggressive and just send it into the bomb site with those Candelas and with the Glaz at the helm? Unfortunately, for DarkZero to kick off the map, they're going to lose a body. Panba at that, the Buck, the skeleton key, a vital component of soft destruction on a site like this, lost to a well-timed spawn peek from Yeti.
I'm excited. If this is the pace we're going with, Jonah, if this is the kind of matchup we're going to have, I'm glad Yeti showed us that. Have that being the first kill, this should be a good one in store. While the Buck is gone, you don't have that vertical soft destruction anymore. You can't go below inside of Workshop to say open up the floor in Armory. You still have some of the big players that we were looking at. You still have that Glass with those smokes. You have the Ying with those smokes and those Candelas, and Eclipse on that Osa with that shield. But with NJR prepped with the Gone, he'll open up Archive's window very quick. That's another key position that the attack must hold if they want to put maximum pressure on these site players.
Well, Kansan, feeling that pressure, throws out that C4, but comes up with nothing. NJR not even taking a lick of damage, and DarkZero using that to just send it on in. Here comes Canadian. He'll just run it on through the sandwich window. Candela's at the helm. Smokes to cover his entry. You can see Soniqs scrambling around to get back to site, but Canadian, he goes unnoticed. Grixer on his Yokai drone, gets caught completely off guard. Eclipse getting this plant down. Here's the coverage from Hyper, but he's missing all of his shots. The Osa shield, it can't protect the planter for that long, and Hyper, leaving his teammate out to dry, is now the last player for DarkZero standing. He's the one now caught between a rock and a hard place. He has to find 3 defenders. He's got ample time to do it, but a quick turn of events and a missed coverage by Hyper gives Soniqs the edge.
Canadian able to work his way into sight like that and get such a big kill on the Echo, and for all of it to be squandered, not necessarily because of major mistakes made by DarkZero. I mean, obviously Hyper being in that awkward position, it wasn't exactly the easiest angle to hold on those stairs. You can see him cross, but you need to be hitting those shots based on the way Hyper was positioned and able to take down the diffuser. I was really interested and happy to see the setup DarkZero were going for. You know, you're trying to bring out some new stuff, see that Glass play on that Archives balcony, but now Hyper here stuck in the 1v3, just one over the opposite side of the closet, or on the filing cabinet, I should say, not a closet, but looking like here might be an effective timeout. You'll go in and bam. There it is. Rexon cleans it up. First round goes to SQ.
Yeah, he got shot at from the corner there with the 416, but he actually didn't quite realize where those bullets were coming from, so didn't end up clearing the course the close corner. I mean, part of the new border is that Archives room has actually been expanded quite a bit. And, you know, maybe that's something that just Hyper overlooked for a moment, didn't realize that there could be someone tucked in that corner to his right. And, well, by overlooking that, eventually gave up his life. But the round already was over at that point. It really was a botched execute that gave Soniqs the round win. Hyper was in position for the coverage, but Soniqs just barreled in the room, swung all the way to the other side of Archives to get around the OSHA shield and deny the plant. They did that expertly, and Hyper actually wasn't even able to pick up one kill on the coverage.
No, again, unfortunate position for Hyper, unfortunate round for DarkZero, because that Ying play actually worked out quite well too, so unlucky overall. But now we go all the way downstairs to Bathroom and Tellers. Remember when I was talking about how some of these sites are a little bit difficult to hold on the site? Point to me, where is a safe spot to sit on this site? I mean, you have Bathroom, sure, but you're not sitting in Tellers. There's a window right to the site, and if it's so easy to get East control and balcony control, there is no safe place to sit in what is a good majority of the bomb site. Most teams like to play this for the retake or play it up above, open up the hatch above Bathroom, and then play for it that way. Hold the site by playing off the site. We'll see how Soniqs take that way. They've got a Mute and a Mozzie to deny that intel. Castle for the utility for those barricades, and a Pulse on top of all of that to add to the 3 C4s held by the defense and just a little bit more intel to sweeten the deal.
Yeah, so much explosive potential on the side of the Soniqs. Of course, DarkZero, they're going to want to echo that as much as they can. They do have 4 of those grenades, but the rest of that utility, well, it's devoted to Canadian and his, well, OSA shields. No explosive potential, rather a bit more protection for him as he chooses to work his way in the building. But DarkZero, speaking of map control, this is where they're going to set their sights, at least early on. That's what they've got to get done here. Grixer wall banged. Nice shot there from Eclipse, working his way over to the Passport double door and claiming the opening pick.
Yeah, they had a Z-ping on him, so excellent drone work by DarkZero so far. Spotting that Grixer is a little bit isolated from the rest of his team, alone inside a Passport, but now Rexon also going for a bit of an aggressive peek to bring this back. Spotted by Panba, but down the Finca goes. Excellent shot by Rexon. Back to the 4v4. That's what Soniqs need. Get a little bit aggressive, then fall back fairly soon after. East control, actually, Jonah, a little bit difficult for DarkZero to get so far. We have a Rooney stationed exactly in that area, and Kansan's got the right idea. Deny that powerful bit of control for DarkZero. They got to go other places, but this one's going to be more difficult than they might think.
And the thing with top East controls, it's very hard to take as a solo because there are so many different angles. The defense can just throw themselves at you. They can run out of a window here, run out on the balcony here. You need someone else to provide that coverage, and because Canadian is alone, he's going to have to wait a little bit longer to do it. He's going to wait for his team to join him and pressure that 90 hull. That's exactly what Hyper is trying to do. Joined by NJR as they work their way in security and break room, trying to clear their way on up and force these defenders who are positioned upstairs to fall away. They've been successful in doing that, but only 60 seconds remain.
Now we finally see the attackers fully moving on into the building. You know, we saw some presence over by Passport, saw some presence over in CCTV. Now they've taken East. They're setting up these OSA shields, but Soniqs have actually done an extremely good job at wasting this time. 40 seconds, and the attack only have this bit of control on border. Very difficult to see, but Eclipse is putting in the work right now. Cuts down super inside of the site. The C4 gone. Now this is where Soniqs need to start worrying, because it might not have been a lot of time before, but now with a man disadvantage, it's looking a bit worrisome.
Yeah, Rexon exposed here, but also trying to get aggressive, as is Yeti, who's actually retaking this top floor. DarkZero, almost all of them, in fact, everybody has dropped down, giving up top floor control. Dangerous here. Maybe Eclipse is trying to get involved. He's just going to stick this plant. Canadian does return to the top of East stairs to get that kill onto Yeti. Kansan gets one back, but now we are in a post plant. Rexon goes big and takes down Eclipse, but Canadian, a huge player in this round, will answer back onto Kansan. It is all up to Rexon. 3 kills so far. He's looking for a 4th with the C4. Comes up with nothing. Canadian now vulnerable. NJR providing the coverage from afar. So Rexon, well, he's got a chance to tease this diffuser if he wants, but right now he's hunting for these kills, running out into the lobby, trying to find something, but it's NJR who goes unnoticed by the final Soniqs defender to take him down, and DarkZero, they'll tie us up.
Overall, it was a slow clear by DarkZero, and actually a solid hold by Soniqs off the side just to deny a couple of those key positions. Even with losing Grixer early, still able to hold down the top floor floor for quite a long time. But once DarkZero, of course, get the kill on Grixer early, but more importantly, get the kill on the super inside of the site, they've opened it up. And now this is where the onus and responsibility falls on Soniqs to play for that retake, to play those off-site angles and try to bring that back. But unfortunately, based on the position that Rexon had in Workshop, he could not spot the planter of the ace. The other two were also outside of positions, not for their own fault. They were trying to retake top floor, an important job to do, but once DarkZero had gotten ground, they did not give it up. And maybe if that plant spot was a little different, they might have been able to find it, but unfortunately, Rexon just missed it barely.
Well, Soniqs will not go for the same bomb site again, sending tellers and bathrooms, pushing that one off until later, potentially. Right now going to vents and workshop instead. Another classic site, and on a map like Border, well, it's all about the vertical play. We're going to say it every time. There is so much soft destruction on this map, arguably the most soft destruction of any map currently in the pool, that everything is about vertical. Everything is about opening up extra angles as attacking teams and, well, as a defensive team, leveraging that soft destruction to your advantage as long as you're maintaining map control. But of course, once you give that up, that's the attacker's chance to use that against you. And to do that, DarkZero, we're going to have to find a way to clear out this top floor first.
Yeah, and Soniqs bringing a pick that I really like, just an overall adaptation to try and give them some flexibility. Grixer moving to that Oryx. He might not bring a lot in active utility, but he brings what you need to make some of these defenses work. He just brings a T5, a 1.5, and a hell of a lot of mobility with those Rima dashes. He might not be upstairs, he might be on the same floor, but Grixer on this roam can do a lot of damage if he's able to just hit a couple spots, then back off, and overall supplement the offsite pressure for the attack. Now, Canadian has spotted him, and Grixer not aware of that drone, so they know about the area where the Oryx is sitting.
Hyper, a little spray through the wall, like you said, spotting out Grixer as he rotates, but now unsure of his exact position, just nervous potentially that there may be someone lurking around and hunting for that kill. A standoff right now, a minute in. We see Yeti positioned on those metal stairs, hoping that somebody works their way into his line of fire. But again, DarkZero, their priority right now is on the top floor. You'll have a nade come in, attempting to get this Electroclaw off the wall, rather the bandit batteries from Kansan as he positions here. But they're not going to give this up easily. In fact, Yeti and Kansan are not backing away. Even when this exothermic goes off, they're playing close on the breach. Yeti wants to get aggressive here, tempting a swing potentially, or just trying to go unnoticed, because right now, DarkZero, they're not actually pushing in.
No, they're still holding just for the moment, just waiting for them to move on in. It's dangerous gambit by Soniqs to stay up here so early on, but if it ends up working out, and even if a couple fall, Super can play for that C4. He's also holding the window just around the corner. If DZ get over aggressive, they could fall, but finally Jonah, Yeti strikes, he takes down NJR, and you talked about that soft destruction. The sledge is down. There might not even be enough time, but DZ, they're not out of this fight just yet.
No, Panba coming in from above will equalize promptly by taking down Kansan, and we're back. Just like that into a 4v4. Canadian, his turn to step up. He'll take the head of Grixer. No more Oryx in this round. No more of that mobility. It's going to be all up to Yeti here, who's trying to provide coverage on both the top floor and the bottom at the same time. This cheeky position on the top of the server rack right now. He's stunned, though. Can't do much while he waits for DarkZero to work their way in, and win 30 seconds, eventually, they're going to have to get a move on here. They've got the Finka boost to help them out, but Canadian is quite lit up here. Hyper, you can see, nervous to push on in. They don't seem to have a lot of intel to work with. They don't seem aware of Yeti's position up top. Hyper walks right in, and Yeti gets his double. Panba not in position nor moving at all to get one back. Spots out the leg of one, but misses, drops down, gets it. But again, Yeti onto Panba. Where's Eclipse getting this bomb down? Nowhere to be found. It's Soniqs who win the round on time.
And that armory hold up top had to be the defining factor in that round. We mentioned how important the vertical is and how powerful it can be when the attack has it, when they can open up that floor and put pressure onto vents and put pressure onto workshop. But that was denied by Soniqs the entire time, actively and aggressively. They hold on to it for 2 minutes, and even when that breach opens, does Yeti retreat? Do the other SQ roamers retreat? No, they do not. They play, and Yeti even gets a kill. DZ might have answered back with 2, and that's certainly a very good play by them. But for so much time, 2/3 of the round to be wasted on that top floor, they're not able to make any inroads toward the site. I'm amazed it even came down to a 2v2. That just shows the DZ for making the most of a bad situation.
Well, Soniqs pulling that one out, what felt like this by the skin of their teeth, but making it happen. And Well, now they can move on, find another site, play it with some confidence. It's actually going to be Customs and Stock right now as they work their way over to the other side of that bottom floor, the southwest corner that again makes DarkZero, well, forces them to decide, choose between a couple of options here. The classic border decision, do you want to go direct, in this case through that detention wall, pushing your way in, going direct through Passport and working your way into the other side, or like we can see Soniqs setting up, do you want to clear that top floor and work your way down?
I mean, CC, there are a lot of avenues for the attack to go through. You can see Rexon looking through one of them right now. Tried to get a kill all the way outside into spawn. Doesn't go his way, but it's still a 5v5. He's not going to complain too much about that. But to try and deny that vertical, it's an important decision. But again, one that DarkZero, they have the couple CCTV windows. They can take east, move over to the balcony, and Soniqs, for all of those angles, have to actively contest them. It's not the kind of thing you can let slide, but as Rexon drops, he spots Hyper immediately, takes a lot of damage, and continues to harass him. But he'll hang out for the moment. Nobody dead just yet until there's Panba on.
There's the support from DarkZero, right? They come in from behind. They're not going to leave their teammates out to dry, so Rexon will fall the opening pick now to the side of DarkZero, just the way they wanted to start. Hyper, of course, lit up in the process, but with some nice Finka boost for the remainder of this round, he should be nursed back to full HP, or at least close to, in no time. We can still see that Soniqs, despite the loss, are still trying to maintain that top floor control, and DarkZero, well, they're getting antsy, and it looks like they're going to go horizontal. We're not seeing that full top floor clear from them right now. Instead, focusing on applying pressure directly to that site.
I mean, we saw how hard they got stuck on clearing out that top floor pressure last time, trying to clear out Armory. CC might not be, or it might be a different beast, but still, this might be the best play for DarkZero, focusing on what they can control, but Super still getting active. This is SQ's secret to success on their defense. Getting aggressive, cutting down NJR. That's your nades gone. They might not have been going for vertical, but it's still a player you don't want, especially when you had the man advantage. You've now fallen. They've opened up a lot of really good positions, but because they're committing themselves to this horizontal and leaving off the avenue for the vertical, they have to push in and get these kills. They have to start winning these fights, and with Grixer's presence up above as well, if this East control fails, which so far it's not, it's about the only thing going good for DZ so far, well, except these kills.
Yeah, great kill from Panba. Hyper with the follow, and now it is Super, who got an impactful kill earlier, who needs to step up. Unfortunately, Canadian for him, takes him down, no problem. Grixer, who is still upstairs, has to work his way back down, and DarkZero are simply not going to allow that to happen. They will tie us up 2-2.
And as I was saying, because they relegated themselves to opening up both the site walls and trying to play there, it's very difficult without that vertical to try to move in and get those kills. I mean, I mentioned that playing on border, playing defense on border is a little restrictive, but if you are only just containing the site, it is still a little bit hard to push in. You have to work those angles, you have to work those picks, and that's only when you get the opportunity. Not having the vertical can hamstring you. But they're able to get the kills. Panba holding East, Hyper finally moving on in. If you're able to win even one of those fights, that's still the opportunity you needed. And so DarkZero getting that win and Soniqs immediately rotating up to Armory makes sense. This is one of the better sites. No need to do Passport twice.
Right, and it's unlikely that we're going to see DarkZero go for the same fast-paced, just sprint their way in type strategy.
No.
I'd like to see that from them. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to see from DarkZero if they want to have a chance of taking this out of Soniqs' hands, at least by forcing them to play that unique style. But we are, like we talked about, more likely to see them take it a bit slower in round number 5. This one, again, couple of options for DarkZero. They could go through that good old-fashioned old border ranked strategy where you just open up that armory wall and just send your way in, but more likely, we're going to see map control be a focus for DarkZero, working their way in across that top floor and just pressuring this site from as many avenues as they can.
Hey, I know you talked about that old rank strat, but that border, opening that wall, that's all reliable right there. That is the 1-2 step that you can always count on when you're attacking Armory on border. But to talk about one holdout from the previous attacking lineup, NJR on this Buck. Again, talking about old reliable, what's one thing you can do? Send Buck down below inside of Venson Workshop to open up the floor, but he's not doing that, Jonah. He's creeping up metal stairs, and what's he going to find? Maybe a roamer in CCTV or a defender in sight.
Or someone hiding under a desk in break room. That's what Yeti is doing right now. I mean, a lot of unexpected elements here in this round, but NJR, I think that surprise, he's going to give up on that for now. He'll back down and head back downstairs. Rexon will fall. getting downed off screen, just out in the long hallway, out in 90, just falling victim to some early movement from Hyper. Not all that early, still over a minute in the round, but here's the play we're talking about. It is Yeti who's gone unnoticed, but Panba, he read that perfectly. Yeti goes drone and has no idea, again, because he is staring at the back of a metal desk. So he falls, and there is nothing that SQ can do about it. DarkZero up 2 in the man count.
Yeah, I mean, it was bold strategy, Jonah. Unfortunately, it does not pay off, and now DarkZero will go to opening that breach. They have the 5v3 right now, and SQ have to start getting active in the site, which is something they've been able to do fairly successfully on the defensive rounds they've won. So even though they're down 2 bodies, based on how they've been playing and how they've been able to win those 2 rounds, it's not unlikely they could bring this back. Well, Kansan holding angles like that loses a lot of HP. They still have some important utility, but DZ have also shown when they can enter the site, they could get those kills, get those very late frags, but a nice shot by Grixer makes that a little bit more testy.
Yeah, Grixer will keep Soniqs in the mix here, but they're going to have to really get Kansan involved. They're going to have to get the rest of this team to step up, and here come the flashes. Here comes the action. Grixer gets 3, but he's not much longer for this world. You've got, again, NJR creeping in from behind, just desperate to do some kind of crouch walk play by the end of the round, who puts DarkZero on top. They'll take the lead.
And really, this entire half, we still have one more round, so it could be completely different, but the entire half so far has been those execute frags. Who can get those kills pushing into the site? Whatever work you do, whatever man advantage you have going in, whether it's Soniqs' 2 defenses or DarkZero's 3 attacks, it's all been a matter of, okay, we've set up our plan, who can get the kills in the end? You'd think that's how every round in Siege comes down to, but sometimes teams lose all their roamers, sometimes they lose all their anchors, and the players off-site have to rotate back, but it has been a stall between these 2 teams, a stalemate for a good portion of the round, and it's only then do DarkZero push in and win, or SQ fend off the Horde and get those kills. Now, going to Ventilation Workshop is a fairly similar story, except this one went the way of the Soniqs and not DarkZero.
DarkZero bringing out a lineup that's worked for them most so far. It's a classic lineup, emphasizing the use of the Finka. It's not too shocking to see the Finka so prevalent here on Border. We've talked about how much fragging potential this map can bring to a lobby, and, well, the Finka is perfect for the attacking team to just have a nice little bonus in terms of every single engagement they walk into. And during the ban phase, this is a map where we suspected we might see that Finka ban, but I honestly think both teams on the attacking side, they didn't want to deal with the lack of the Finka. They wanted to have her on their side as much as they could.
One thing I actually want to talk about, by the way, we will have a rehost coming through. I believe we'll have to see. It's requested. We'll see if it's confirmed. But one thing instructed, because while Border might not be the easiest time to play on site on the defense, it's also still a new map. A map that sure might have been in the pool 1-2 years ago, but it's still something that teams have to relearn, have to get their feet wet again, get accustomed to it a second time around, or if you weren't around then, for the first time. So that's when I talk about it's hard to play defense. It's hard to make it work on the sites that you're given. But again, it's a new map and it's a limited sample size, so the defense seems to be favoring it so far. Of course, if Soniqs get this next round, it won't be a defender-sided one. It'll just even out 3-3, and we'll see, going back to Ventilation Workshop, if they can make it even.
A tall task, though, because we've seen DarkZero continuing to heat up, stay flexible, which is not something we generally, not a word we usually use to characterize this DarkZero roster. But right now, staying clean, staying loose, and staying adaptable, showing that, well, if Soniqs change it up, throw a unique defensive setup at them, that DarkZero has been able to take that into account, adjust their strategy on the fly. But one element of this attack that has been oddly consistent is we are seeing some individual play, some well-timed, some possible rat plays coming in from DarkZero. This case, we see Panba working his way in.
The attack equivalent of Yeti sitting below a desk. Of course, he's not sitting prone below anything, but he's creeped his way down east stairs, and again, holding an important position of the map, a key rotation for the defense. And there's 2 looking to make his way over towards him right now. One of them being Grixer, takes a little bit of damage, and what does he do, Jonah? He runs away, heads back into the site. No point trying to contest that, especially with Panba playing with that Finka LMG in such a powerful spot.
You can see the drones that DarkZero have set up, the intel working for them so well right now. NJR gets that opening pick, takes down Yeti. Of course, the Aruni already utilizing that utility, putting it down and just setting it up and forgetting it, but losing him, losing that gun for the late round, well, Soniqs cannot be happy about that.
No, they cannot whatsoever. Soniqs, by the way, aside from just a couple rounds, 4-0 on the end, or well, 4 kills on the entry, and even one round got it traded, but that's the thing. Soniqs can still always mount a fight back. Kansan takes down Eclipse, and that's the Thermite gone. Sure, taking down the Aruni, that's whatever. I guess she can't punch walls anymore, but that's your only hard breacher. And what was their big issue? Clearing out Armory. Before they were able to open the wall, now they can't even get that.
Oh, that's going to be an issue that plagues them, especially as we work our way under the minute mark in round number 6. But Hyper is just in the site and getting involved early. He'll take the fight onto Rexen and win it. Of course, Rexen will answer back and take him down. Rather, it was Grixer who fell a moment ago, but Super is here, and he is going to stay in this fight. Panba dropping down, hoping he can get something going with this LMG.
Oh.
He gets Super through the wall.
Ooh.
Only one more to find now. It is all up to Rexen. He had a key kill a moment ago. Can he get another? DarkZero, they have time to slow this down. They have 40 seconds. That is ample time to take the pace of this round down, go for this plant, and really force Rexen into their hands. You see the nades coming in to delay. NJR now sticking this plant. The pre-fire from Rexen just barely misses. Now he'll have to get off and look for this fight elsewhere. Now it's a post plant. NJR
both
backing
low.
off. Panba backing off. Both low. Yes, they both could fall to Rexen here if he times this right, but he has to find them first. Didn't find the player up above. One player outside that vents window. Now on the rappel, sitting up top, waiting for Rexen to make the move. There's the first. Takes down Panba. 1 versus 1, but 20 seconds. Rexen needs to step up now. NJR on the upside down rappel, though. All he has to do is wait for the opportune moment to strike, and there is nothing that Rexen can do. He'll stick the diffuser.
What?
He'll stick the diffuser. No, he gets off it. Might have had a chance there, but NJR will eventually get the kill. A messy exchange in those closing seconds, but DarkZero will take the half 4-2.
I have to say, my heart dropped when NJR did not shoot him immediately and that diffuser reached 1 second left. I got very scared that that was going to be the way it was, a 3-3 half. But overall from DarkZero, you might not have once the Thermite died, they would end up winning that round, but they made the exact call they needed to in that situation. Hey guys, we struggled to clear Armory with the breach open. It's closed now, and we have no way of opening it. At that point, the call was made, the right one, that they just need to go on the site and get those kills. There's nothing else they can really do at that point, so that's what they do. Hyper goes in, Panba goes in, works out, not perfectly, but works out well enough to get them the advantage, cause enough chaos for Soniqs, and Panba especially getting a very nice 2-piece. If you struggle to clear out the top floor and you don't have a lot of time, or well, don't have a lot of time for what you would prefer, you just got to send it on in. But now we go to DarkZero's defenses, and they're leaning very heavily into that roam right now. We see the Pulse and the Vigil, the duo likely, giving intel to one and the other acting off of it.
I gotta say, I am loving what we're seeing from DarkZero so far.
Me too.
A true test of this new team. Like, coming into the stage, DarkZero, the idea behind this revitalization, right? They wanted to create something that they just haven't been able to achieve before. A team that can work with different styles, different maps, adapt to the meta, and this test of Border is showing us that they can. That they don't just have to play that methodical sit back, 20-second execute style of Siege. That when they see an opening, even if they lose their Thermite, a core element of their attack, that they can adapt and make something happen. Opening duel this time goes to the Soniqs. It is Kansan who takes the fight against Hyper, and, well, that fancy style I just talked about, DarkZero adaptability, it'll have to wait a little bit longer to come in, as, whoa, my goodness, Soniqs are tearing them apart. It's Rexen through the wall who takes down the Pulse of Canadian.
I literally mentioned 2 players on DarkZero, and they're both the ones that go down first. I'm sorry, that one's my bad, boys. I'll take the L for you on that one. Soniqs getting a major opening in the first minute of the round. DZ holding the entry game firmly on the attacking half, and right now losing it dramatically going into their defenses. See the Osa for Rexen already setting up in position downstairs, inside of lobby, outside of tellers. Big positions that Soniqs have achieved right now so early on, and when Eclipse goes to peak, he falls too. This is looking like a Soniqs round if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, no kidding. A minute 45 left, so much on the clock, and Soniqs, well, they have so little work left to do. They've just got to pick up these last 2 players, and, well, if they want to get the bomb down with only 2 defenders in their path, not much they're going to be able to do to stop it. NJR no longer has that C4. No other forms of plant denial, and speaking of, there goes the Cade, done and dusted. Final player alive, well, that's Panba. He's going to try to stop Super to go for the plant, but he can do nothing. Tries to even retake that top floor, but never had a chance. It is Soniqs who come back and take a flawless round at the half, good start.
We've mentioned it time and time again on the broadcast so far. During the duration of this game, you have to be good on that realm or holding that map control to really have a chance in these rounds. Denying positions like CCTV, or if you want to play a little bit more fast and loose, getting a kill or two when you need be. And the Vigil and the Pulse combo was what DZ was betting on to do that, and they died in the first 45 seconds. What do you have left on Teller's Archives? We said it earlier, you're not going to play directly on the site. You got to play for the retake. And then they all collapsed as well. SQ got so much map control and so much of what they needed in such a short amount of time. There was basically no way that was going DZ's way unless they got those kills, and we all know how that ended.
Well, DZ, that one wasn't even close. So they've got to find a way to bounce back here. Changing up the site certainly could help as they head over to now Vents and Workshop, setting up a bit of a vertical extension. The use of those castle barricades, those mute jammers, those reinforcements, all in an attempt to maintain as much map control for as long as they can. The beauty of Border is that a lot of these bomb sites, if the defense plays it right, they can make the entire map feel like a bomb site.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. That is something that if you really have a really strong roam presence, you can make it seem that way. With a castle especially, you can make a lot of places on Border really feel like extensions of the site with those 4 panels, rotate holes made, reinforcements, and Cade Claws dedicated. It's a fair point. If you're able to keep all that on lock, it really is like the site can take up half of the map. But that is the problem with it. It's a prerequisite. It has to be strong, and if that falls, the site is not looking good afterwards. But DZ have done exactly that. They've reinforced that wall leading outside onto the east balcony. It's reinforced. It's electroclawed. They're holding out inside of Armory like you would expect when it's a Ventilation's Workshop defense. We have to see how Soniqs have to take this down. No Osa to hold east this time, but a Nomad and a Zero to hold flanks. They still have plenty of utility to make that happen.
Well, with 60 seconds off the clock, Soniqs starting to reveal their intentions on this approach. Kansan seems interested in working his way down below. He's got the drone of Super to give him some extra intel to work with as the Soniqs try to work their way in up above. You see the rappel in on the balcony, and we also see Grixer working his way in on the complete opposite side of the map right now, maybe hoping to catch a DarkZero defender unaware, because Soniqs right now, it is just about making that entry, which it seems they've been successful in doing.
We'll see a C4 go over by Hyper as well, and unfortunately misses, but he's looking to get aggressive as those players move through the breach and look into offices, as it's just now opening up. Might have an opportunity to do that, but he drops a little bit further back. And we'll instead see, with only a minute left, Soniqs just now finally entering the building. Though Kansan, he's actually made it inside a bathroom, so he's quite far up. Could be pernicious for the defense to deal with, but it's actually Grixer who gets the most active early on. But there's Panba, of course, to jump right back in.
Yeah, Panba making it happen again, taking the life of Yeti, who's been pretty key in these opening engagements so far. But look at what the Soniqs have going for them now. Not a lot of time, and only 2 drones remaining if you take a look at the top left of your screen. Still seems, though, that without the drones, they've got a good bit of intel, because Rexon is able to spot out the location of another DarkZero defender and take his life down to the grave. With 35 seconds, though, it is Soniqs' turn to move.
And there goes all of the drones left for DarkZero. They got to rely on only those Zero cameras right now to get any remaining bit of intel they can. They've got the kills so far, and in the 4v3 it might work, but it's still problematic.
Yeah, Grixer, you know he spots out the head of another. It's actually Super who ends up claiming that kill. Hyper goes down. Panba now rolling through, tries to get something back, but can't. All on the shoulders of NJR, who picks up 1. Spots out Rexon, can't quite finish him off, though. But Soniqs, they've got to find a way to get this bomb down or find the last kill. NJR ends up exposing himself to the angle long held by the Soniqs, and with another strong attacking round, the Soniqs will tie us up 4-4.
And if you take a look at that round again, we mentioned extending so far off the site, how you can make everything feel like home on Border. It has to hold, though. It's got to hold, and even then, they hold that top floor. They hold office and archives for 2 whole minutes. They destroy every single drone the Soniqs had to their names, leaving them only with those Zero cameras. And what happened? Soniqs are still able to push in, they're still able to win those fights, and that's what makes the difference on Border. If you can clear out that extension and still get a kill or 2, get the advantage going in, you're still looking pretty. That's the problem with defense on Border sometimes that these teams run into.
Well, it's DarkZero who are now in need of a defensive solution. We haven't seen them get overly active on the roam, and I suppose that's up to Panba to really develop. He is playing that Oryx and has the ability to get a bit crazy, to get a bit loose with it and start running at the Soniqs, contesting them at their early entry point.
And that's, I think, a really good thing and a really good adaptation by DarkZero. We'll see how it obviously shakes up. Panba could die early on, just like Hyper did on their first round on the roam. But if that attempt previously didn't exactly work, you know, putting all of your eggs and holding that top floor, and then once it gets opened up, the site pressure ends up the site presence ends up faltering a little bit. Having Panba be on an Oryx, be a little bit more flexible, able to Rima dash certain places or sprint certain places and support where he can, that could be just a little bit enough to fend off the Soniqs pressure. Even if it falls, make it a bloody fight as they go down towards the site. Right now it's still NJR, or still Hyper, I should say, excuse me, holding the same position he did previously, but Panba inside of CCTV also joining him very soon on this top floor.
Yeah, really trying to contest and hold this top floor as long as they can, seeing if this adjustment could put them in a good spot. And again, we've got to ask, are the Soniqs going to head straight through that, or are they going to work their way in and go beneath and go direct? Because right now, these DarkZero defenders up above, where's the pressure they're facing? It's not coming from the east nor the west. They're sitting pretty comfortable right now. The Soniqs are yet to make a move. Again, only 60 seconds in. It's not the biggest deal in the world here, but DarkZero, they're trying to waste time, and right now it's working.
Yeah, Hyper prepped with the C4 right there, just like he was previously. He'll put it back. Still a couple of attackers primed on that top floor to move in if the call is given, but they haven't just yet. Kansan also working his way into the same position he did before, and now Hyper's starting to feel the pressure. He's got that C4. They're just outside. They're distracted with players on main right now. This is a good opportunity for Hypers to spring the trap.
C4 goes up, out, and over, but finds nothing. He'll drop away and retreat to safety. A missed opportunity, moments, inches away, in fact, from getting that kill onto Rexen, but instead, the Zero will be able to continue to set up cameras, giving more intel to the side of a Soniqs team who struggled with their drone economy in the last round, under a minute to go.
Under a minute to go, and whereas before they had 2 drones, now they have 5 on top of those 0 cams that they had previously, but it's still Hyper with the first pick. Kansan putting pressure inside a bathroom is an important little addition to the Soniqs attack that can make things a little bit more palatable going into the site. Now that he's fallen, DarkZero can sit a little bit more comfortably on top of their vertical control still being fairly intact. Panba 2 down below. DZ might just be able to bring this one home.
Rexen, though, creeping in, and Eclipse fries him on a pixel angle with that ump. Now it is up to Super and Grixer, who are just going to send it in the sight. Super just making the crouch walk in the middle of Workshop, and you're right, Hyper had no idea. Thankfully, he's got a teammate close behind. NJR will answer and take him down, leaving it all up to Grixer with very little time remaining. The nade will force NJR to go prone and duck behind the coverage, but Grixer, he simply cannot look in 4 different places at once. The diffuser out of pocket, the time dwindling away. DarkZero changing up the defense and focusing so much more on that top floor hold. We saw Panba getting aggressive, getting active. Look at that. It worked.
It is true, but also much of that was, at least on the office side of things, fairly similar to what they did before. Full reinforced, Kate Electroclawed. It's what they had previously, and Soniqs were still able to focus on that and get a couple kills and get some map control on, or at least taking down that roam. This time, they don't even look towards it. Don't even pay any attention to it whatsoever. They almost pull one of the OXG or SSG strategies. They're just like, all right, you can do that, whatever. It's chill. We'll just, leave that be. Except it's not that the roam, obviously Panba getting active once he dropped back down to the site made a big difference, but it's not like, they got 4 kills, 5 kills. It was really the site players getting a lot of those kills come the final minute. So I'm wondering what SQ decided to change up their take for, because it seems like it ended up just not really amounting to much throughout that whole round.
Well, DarkZero having finally found something, they will head over to Tellers and Bathroom now to see if they can make something happen. This defensive lineup, once again, a little intel focus on the side of Canadian. Last time we saw him on the pulse, he did end up dying pretty early, and Soniqs ended up delivering that flawless round, so that's something he's going to try to avoid this time, as of course will Hyper. Not necessarily intel focused for the defense, but focused on denying the intel that we've talked about from the Soniqs already. Of course, right now, top left of your screen, you can see that 9 drones remain for the Soniqs, but keep an eye on this number, because on this map, DarkZero have been doing a very nice job at limiting the Soniqs' ability to keep those drones in play.
There's also a new addition by the Soniqs for their lineup. Yeti bringing out the Dokkaebi. This could be something when they go for that clear or try to hunt down Hyper and Canadian. They got the 2 kills early on, but while that was some good positioning, I think it was also some fortuitous timing for the Soniqs as well. This will be a good addition in tandem with that Lion to really make Hyper and Canadian very uncomfortable off the site. So I like that addition by the Soniqs with Rexon on the Osa as well to hold down East Stairs if he wants to. Soniqs are in a very good spot to turn the tables on the defense. If the defense wants to make it like home, with this lineup the Soniqs are running, they can certainly make themselves a campfire.
Well, Soniqs now pivoting a little and focusing on a horizontal push. You do see one player up above. That is Yeti, but the action now unfolding down below in Passport. It is Rexon at the helm, Osa shield in his face, working his way in and clearing his way through the site. Now setting up this shield, facing that double door that can look all the way across this entire first floor, mind you. Ideally choking off the rotation of DarkZero, preventing them from getting as active as they were in that previous round. While the rest of that team, while 2 players on the Soniqs are down below, maybe a third on the entry, there's actually Canadian who gets taken down through the wall.
Yeah, that Pulse can no longer look at the attack, setting up inside of waiting room right now. Grixer, Rexon, they can chill there and they don't have to worry about that heartbeat scanner, but Hyper's still alive. He's still got that ERC to roam around the map, and Panba is in customs as well. So you don't have the Pulse providing intel, but you have Panba holding the angle. Hyper actually inside a bathroom, not on the roam like we might have initially thought. So really, it's Panba to try and provide that offside pressure, and Hyper with the nice angle looking in the sight.
Good flashes, though, so Hyper cannot hold that angle off. If the Soniqs do want to push in now, the toxic smoke will come out, and, well, Super's going to go for it anyway, hiding just beneath the smoke. He'll be able to stick this plant. Grixer will get felled by Pan, but actually he'll get 2 with that UMP in hand, going big on the castle. Again, can he get 3? Just barely. Rexon will take him down, though, trading that kill onto his IGL back, but it is just Rexon and Kansan to hold this in a post plant against 3. But DarkZero, they need to get active now. Losing Hyper is going to be a problem. NJR and Eclipse, are they anywhere to be found? You've got him close on the other side, and Eclipse does go down to 1 HP, picking up the down as he goes, but it is NJR. He comes out of nowhere, getting the last 2. Well, a pretty good reason. They love going to overtime and pulling out the wins in the late game. Maybe Soniqs can take advantage of that and just get us back to overtime, flipping the script, taking it themselves, of course, but we are a long way there. Soniqs need to find a way to bridge this gap. DarkZero pretty much coming out of nowhere and taking the last 2 defensive rounds after Soniqs started off the half so well. But now it's DarkZero's game, and now the onus, like you said earlier, on the Soniqs to change it up.
But we're moving to customs right now, which, as we saw the Soniqs defend on their attempt, they held CCTV very effectively. DZ said, all right, you guys have that. We'll just, we'll have our fun down on the middle floor, and we'll try to put pressure on the site that way. They open up 2 of the breaches and then just try to play picks, and it ends up working out. SQ, that's a very risky game to play, and especially when you're on map point. That's the difference maker, because if all you do is open up those 2 breaches and try to work those angles, you're at risk of, well, not finding those kills, or maybe even stalling out too much on the attack and ending up losing that out. So for SQ, it might be a bit risky, but maybe clearing that roam is the play here. If, well, there is one, because right now there's only 2 players on the site, so it might be a little bit.
Well, some change coming in from Soniqs. You actually talked about the Callie way earlier on, and finally, we are seeing her come out. The one recipe that attacking teams could leverage here to deal with any sort of hard breach denial. In fact, we see very little of that on the side of DarkZero. It's going to be the mute, of course, in play. That is one element, but as far as the rest, well, it is just going to be up to Soniqs to get something going. You see Canadian down below trying to get active, trying to find the scoreboard again. It's been a while since he's found one. And, well, now that he's not on the pulse, maybe he can stay alive a bit longer.
And maybe he's able to make something now that he's got the MP5 and not the heartbeat scanner in hand. But Kansan, he worked his way into bathroom last time, but now he's gone the distance with the spot. He's moved in here from bathroom to vents. But Canadian, there you go. He's got that first kill. The player lurking downstairs falls. No more buck, no more flashbangs, and no more attacker who could get the jump on the defense.
Oh, that's going to sting for the Soniqs. You really need Kansan in a situation like this. That skeleton key, a vital resource in terms of forcing the defense to rotate up above. You do not have that vertical destruction that you were geared up coming in this round with.
Yeah, you can say goodbye to that. But I suppose hello to Yeti holding the broken monitor with a sniper rifle right now, just peering on in. Might be able to still hold a very long angle, taking up the Kansan position inside a bathroom. Bam! There he goes, but unfortunately misses the one shot on the Canadian. Canadian will just sit there right